Hello, I'm Annie Clarke. Welcome to this 20-minute yoga flow. We're going to be focusing on really using the breath to get into the body today. And it's a really amazing what we can do in such a short space of time. But know that this is your practice. So if anything feels too much, then please modify wherever you need to. If you want a little bit more spice, a little bit more flavor, then add it in wherever it feels good. And just really use this time, commit to this short practice, make it your own, and enjoy the opportunity to get out of the head and into the heart space. So I'm sitting on a block to elevate my hips. That can be really supportive for helping to find a tall spine. Block like this. I'm actually going to keep a second one with me as well. If you're feeling tight in the body, you might find that useful. If you don't have a block, don't worry at all. You could always just sit yourself up on a cushion, a rolled up blanket, or just let go of that completely. Find your way onto your mat or onto somewhere, wherever you are, that you can be comfortable. And if you don't have a mat, just grab a towel or something that you can use if you want to drop the knees to the ground. Just bring yourself into comfort there. And that's a really important thing. We want to make sure that we are comfortable throughout the practice. So please ensure you keep yourself safe and just follow your breath. It's the best teacher. So with that in mind, let's close down the eyes and slowly start to deepen your breath. And if you can, just breathe in and out through the nose. If the nose is blocked, then just breathe through your mouth. Just make sure you're breathing comfortably. And we don't have to take kind of big breaths. We're just connecting almost to the natural rhythm of breath, but starting to consider equalizing the inhale and the exhale if they're a little bit out of sync. So if one is longer or stronger than the other, then over the next few breaths, just start to find a more equal shape, a more equal waveform of the breath as the inhale rolls into the exhale without pause. This continuous, free flowing breath. And then take one hand to the heart space. Just make little circles at the sternum, the center of the chest. So rather than left side at physical heart, we focus on or bring awareness to the spiritual heart center. And we use this circular motion just to build a little bit of heat or warmth between the palm and everything lying beneath it. And that just helps us to center into the heart space. There's so much wisdom here. And we can use that wisdom to guide us in our practice today and every day. As we move and breathe from here, let's bring the other hand up and we'll place the two hands together at the heart. And I like to cup the palms a little as though my intention, my awareness, my dedication is held between my two palms at the heart center. And choosing to just be here with the breath, to explore all that this practice has in store for us without expectation or attachment or judgment. We just allow ourselves to be in this exploration of practice today, holding space for ourselves just as we are, exactly as we are, meeting ourselves right here in this very moment. Let's take a deep breath in and a sigh to let it release. And as you release the breath, Release the hands onto the knees. Let's take a couple of rolls of the shoulders. You could gently blink your eyes open if you want to, or keep them shut. A couple of rolls of the shoulders back in the other direction. Good. And then you're going to roll over your knees and bring yourself to a child's pose. So if you have got blocks, you could place one either side of the mat so you've got them handy a little bit later. And then send your hips to your heels, walk your hands forward. And feel this sense of expansion as you breathe in and softening as you breathe out. Now, if it's a little bit too much to be in a full child's pose, you could always take a block and place it underneath your seat. That's quite a good way to modify for tight hips. Now, all of our bodies are different. I'm working with an injury today, so the shape that I make with my body in certain poses or transitions might be really different to yours. It really doesn't matter. There's no comparison, no end goal. We're just in this experience of exploration. We're going to come up to all fours, finding a tabletop, settle the knees underneath the hips. Push the ground away with the hands and have a gentle drawing in of the abdomen. Good. So for a moment, let's just shrug the shoulders. So you're not bending the elbows, you're just pushing the ground away, rounding the upper back, and then gently just letting that go, as though you're melting your chest down towards your thumbs. Push the ground away with the hands and let it go. One more time. Push the ground away with the hands. Let it go. And this time, walk the hands a little bit further forwards. Tuck your toes and find your way to downward facing dog. So you can start to pedal out through the knees if that feels good. If you're somebody that practices this fairly regularly and it feels habitual to just bend the knees, then consider whether that's the right thing for you today. See if you can be a little bit more aware, a little bit more ritualistic, rather than just defaulting to the movements that you might take out of habit. Let the head and the neck soften. Good. And then deep bend in the knees. Start to pad the hands towards the feet, nice and slowly. As you arrive at the back of the mat, let's take a forward fold. So you can catch hold of opposite elbows, let the head hang heavy, sway from side to side. Maybe take a breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, flutter the lips. Good. Let the knees be soft, the weight come into the front of the feet. And then push down through the feet, release the elbows, and slowly roll up the spine, pushing the ground away, gathering the energy up through the thighs. Reach your arms over your head. Let's interlace the hands, turn your palms up, and as though you're trying to lift your ribs away from your hips, you're kind of drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, making as much space as you can through the waist. Maybe look up to your fingertips for a moment, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to fold all the way down. Good. Walking out to a high plank now. There's an option to drop your knees to the floor or stay in a tall plank. So all of these are just options. It isn't necessarily that one is more challenging than the other. Just choose what feels right for you today without thinking too much about it. So when we were on the hands and knees, we were shrugging the shoulders. We're going to push the ground away around the upper back like we did on all fours. Good. Now take a breath in and exhale, soft knees, downward facing dog. Good. Let's raise the right leg up. Inhale. Bend the knee, open up your hip, lengthen the left leg. So pushing down gently through the left heel and lifting that right knee. Good. Now look forwards. We're going to straighten the right leg up behind us and then place that foot gently between the hands. It doesn't matter if you can't make it in one step. You can always use the hand to help you through. Let's drop the back knee to the floor, look forwards, and start to reach the arms alongside your ears. Now, if it's too much on the knee, you can always fold the mat over, place a towel or something underneath the knee for support. But the best way to lift out of that knee is to gather up through the inner thighs, gently lifting, hugging at the outer hips, almost as though we're trying to bring the weight out of that back knee. The right knee stacks over the right ankle. Good. So this isn't about finding your deepest back bend at the expense of the lower back. This is much more about lifting up and out of the waist and creating as much length and space as we can through the body. You're going to take a breath in and then exhale, send your hips back, peel onto the right heel. Now this is where the blocks are quite handy. So especially if the hamstrings are tight, rather than struggling to get your fingertips to the floor, you can use the blocks to bring the ground a little bit closer towards you. And that way you can keep that heart moving forwards rather than rounding through the upper back. Good. Let's take one more breath. Good. Let's bend into that right knee. Release the blocks if you have them. You're going to take the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Again, can place it onto a block. And then the left toes are going to come to the right side. So almost like you're making an L shape with the legs. And peel that left hand to the sky. Good. Breathe. Think about rotating through the upper part of the spine. Good. We're going to switch the twist to the other side. So this time the left hand comes down. You turn your left toes back and we reach the right arm up. Rather than collapsing into that left hip, keep everything lifted like there's a beach ball underneath the pelvis. Good. Now an option here would be to push through the back heel and lift the back knee away from the floor. Just a choice. And then next option is to turn all of your toes to the right. Keep pushing the ground away with that left hand. So you're lifting up underneath the armpit, but drop the left heel to the floor and we get a nice stretch through the right glutes. Good. Now, wherever you are, we're going to frame that right foot with the hand and step back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Left leg rises, inhale. Same again on the other side. Let's bend the knee, open up the hip, lengthen through the right heel. Good. Now extend that left leg high, looking forward, step through to your low lunge. Drop the back knee to the floor. Think of gathering everything in and up. So the pelvic floor lifts, that's Mula Bandha. Have this kind of gathering of the energy from the earth up the body, reach the arms up. You can interlace the fingers, release the first fingers, breathe. Lifting up out of the waist, as though your shoulders are supporting the back of the heart space. And breathe. An even breath. Good. From here, let's take the hips back. You can find your blocks again, taking it into half Hanumanasana, our hamstring stretch. And every time you exhale, it's like you're gently folding a little bit deeper into the pose. We want to be really wary not to push down into the back of the knee. So if you feel like that's happening, you can just micro bend the knee a little bit. Make sure it's coming up into the back of the knee, in the muscles rather than the joint. Good. We're going to rebend that left knee. The left hand comes to the instep and the right toes turn to the left side of the mat for that twist. So it's as though we're trying to lengthen the femur bone, the thigh bone, sending that hip back in space. Crown of the head reaches forward, almost wrapping your left hip underneath you. This is a modified side angle pose, and I love that the extra support of the right leg or the back knee on the floor gives us a little bit more opportunity to explore the rotation. Good. Let's place that right hand down now. We're going to swap. Right toes come back behind us. Left arm to the sky. Good. Now, option here to push through the back heel to lift that knee away from the floor, engaging the right thigh. Try to keep that left hip drawing back, the knee over the ankle. Good. One more breath. Release the hand down to the floor, downward facing dog. Good. Take a breath in and exhale. Let's raise the right leg up. Inhale. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Good. Straighten that leg. Inhale, look forwards. Step the foot between the palms. We're coming up to a high lunge. Good. So push through the back heel. You can always take the previous variation if you prefer. So this is a little bit like the low lunge, except instead of interlacing the hands here, you're going to take hold of the left wrist in the right hand and pull your body gently to the right. Keep that right hip drawing to the center. Stabilize through the lower body. Draw the navel in. Good. And then inhale. Release back to center. We're going to lengthen the right leg now and fold forwards. So you might notice there's a similar pattern in the movement. We're just standing tall now. If you would rather take this with the back knee down, you're very welcome. Modify however you like. Good. So again, just being mindful of that front knee as you lift the hips back. Make sure that there's a little softness in the right knee. Now from here, we're going to come to our side angle pose, but bend that right knee, shift the weight to the right foot, a little standing split, left leg to the sky, and then soften your right knee, place the back foot down to the floor. We're going to spiral up to a warrior two, and then place the forearm to the thigh, reach the left arm up. Option to drop that hand to the inside of the foot. Good. Breathe. Lovely. Place the hand down onto the floor. You're going to pick up the back heel, take a twist, right arm to the sky. Good. Now that option to turn the toes to the right side, drop the hip. We forgot it on the second side, so we'll do it twice. Don't worry, I got you. Amazing. And we're coming back through our downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend the knee, open up your hip. Straighten that leg, look forwards. Step the foot between the palms. We come up to the high lunge, push the ground away. Good, soften the jaw. Take hold of the right wrist in the left hand and pull the upper body to the left. Stay supported through the lower body. Good. Breathe. And then return back to the center. Lengthen the left leg. Begin to fold forwards. If the ground is a long way away, you can always adjust the position of the feet. Lifting up through that left thigh. Good. Try to center your hips so you're not popping all the way out to the left. Shoulders away from your ears. And then look in front of that left foot as you shift the weight forwards. Little standing split, raise the right leg up. And then soften the left knee, step the right foot back, ground the heel. We're coming up to warrior two, just for a breath. And then exhale, forearm to thigh, or take the left hand down to the earth. Good. We're just here for a couple of breaths. Good. Right hand down to the floor. Pick up the back heel, swap to twist, left arm to the sky. Good. Now option to turn the toes to the left, drop that hip back. Good. Or drop the hip down, reach the arm back. Keep pushing the ground away with the right arm. Now we missed it on the first side. If you included it, you're one step ahead. Otherwise, let's go again. Lift up and send it back. Good. And now place that hand down onto the floor. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Now lower the knees down onto the floor. Send your hips back to your heels. Come to your child's pose. And just allow yourself to connect into your breath here. To notice how the body feels. To feel into the waveform of the breath to bring you into a sense of presence. And then when you're ready to do so, walk your hands up, come to your knees, and then sweep the feet from underneath you and place the feet onto the floor. Center your bottom on the mat and take the hands onto the front of the shins. You're going to tuck the tailbone and slowly roll down onto your back. Now, either using the front of the shins for support, or maybe you go and test out the core strength a little bit on the way down. See how slowly you can roll. Good. And then when you arrive there, just reach the arms over your head. Take hold of opposite elbows. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop out to the sides. And just allow this moment here as you connect with your breath. You're going to release the hands. Take them to the outside edges of the thighs so you can guide the knees together. Widen the feet to the edges of the mat. Let the knees drop in. Now you have a couple of options. If there's anything else that you'd like to add into your practice today, then of course you can pause here and add it in. Otherwise, we can come to Shavasana. Lying down on the back of the body, a really wonderful place to let the body recalibrate, let the efforts of your practice percolate through the whole of your body. Or if you'd prefer to take a short meditation, then you can slowly bring yourself up to seated and close down the eyes. The difference between the two is that Shavasana, you're letting go of all of your awareness. Whereas in our meditation, we're finding single points of focus. Perhaps it's the breath. And we just stay here for a few moments. If you're lying down, whenever you're ready to do so, start to bring a little bit of movement back to the fingers and toes. Perhaps take a full body stretch and take your time as you come to meet us here in seated. And if you are already seated, just stay with that focus, that single point of focus for a few moments longer. And when you're ready, take one hand to the heart, and let's just make those little circles again. And just reconnect to this heart space, the center of compassion within us. And then bring the two hands there to touch, cupping the palms. And we hold that compassion between the palms, bringing the thumb to the third eye center between the eyebrows, and placing that compassion in our thoughts. Bringing the thumbs to the lips as we weave that compassion through our words. And then back down to the heart. Let all of our actions be guided by the compassion and the wisdom of the heart space. Take a deep breath in. And a big sigh, let it go. Thank you so much for your practice today. I hope to see you very soon.